Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Abdul Illah Nahrowi with NIM 226 121 and 222 from 4G class. Okay, here I will explain about material in LLA from material 1 to material 5. uh, for material 1, concept, function, objectives, and procedures of evaluation. The concept of learning evaluation is the process of obtaining data and information needed to determine the action and how the learning that has taken place in order to make judgments and improvements need to maximize the result. Examples like the teachers give multiple choice tests that covers the material that has been learned for one semester. The teachers then corrects the students' answer and gives scores based on the answer key. The teachers also gives feedback to the students about their strengths and weakness in understanding the material. Okay, guys. And the next is the functional of learning evaluation include one, providing information, and that is used as a basis for making policies and decisions of the field of education and teaching. Number two, knowing the level of mastery of students on the material that has been given. Now, number three, knowing the skills, motivation, talents, interests, and attitudes of students towards the learning program. Number five, for assessing the curriculum used in learning. Number five, giving confidence to the school as an education provider. Number six is monitoring the use of funds that have been given for learning. Number seven is improving the materials on education programs. And the next is objectives of evaluation. Number one, determine how far and how long the learning process has gone. Number two, make assessment and improvement needs to maximize result. Number three, become one of the benchmarks of the success the learning process. Number four, diagnosing the strengths and weakness of students in participating in learning activities. Number five is evaluation objectives are also classified into four, namely keeping track, checking up, finding out, and summing up. Uh, the next is procedure of evaluation. Develop a learning evaluation plan. 2. Determine and evaluation techniques or methods to collect data. 3. Verifying data. 4. Manage and analyze data. 5. Provide interpretation and draw conclusions. Number 6 is follow up evaluation. Okay, we are going to the next material. The next material is Bloom's taxonomy. Rules and procedures in contrasting a test. Introduction. Taxonomy is derived from the Greek word taxonomy, which means classify, and nomos, which means rule. Taxonomy can be interpreted as the grouping of something based on a certain hierarchy or level. Bloom's taxonomy refers to a taxonomy that was created for educational purpose. This taxonomy was first discovered by Benjamin S. Bloom in 1956. In this case, educational objectives are divided into several domains, and each of these domains is further divided into more detailed division based on their hierarchy. The next is cognitive domain. Cognitive domain, which contains behaviors that emphasize intellectual aspects such as knowledge, understanding, and thinking skills. You can see the Bloom's taxonomy is like pyramid evaluation in top, like evaluation, synthesis, analysis, application, comprehension, and knowledge in the bottom. Knowledge C1. It demands students to be able to recall and understand information they have previously received, such as facts, formulas, problem solving, strategies, like what they received from the teacher. Students can repeat the information they have received. An operational verb for C1. Know, recall, recite, memorize, repeat, record, duplicate, recall, label, copy, name, spell, code. Comprehension 2. or C2 refers to the ability to explain the knowledge or information they have received using their own words, both in writing and verbally. Operational thought for C2 is like explain, discuss, describe, classify, presenting, interpret, predict, and convert. Application or C3. C3 refers to the ability to use apply to material that has been learned in new situation. This refers to the application of thinking concepts, series of the theories and knowledge, not the application of something in everyday practice. Students can apply their understanding to different or new situations. An analysis in C4. C4 refers to the ability to identify, separate, and distinguish the components of a fact, concept, opinion, assumption, conclusion, and correcting each of these components to see if there are any contradictions. Synthesis or C5. C5 refers to the ability to combine parts of elements and into larger structure. C6 or evaluation refers to the ability to make judgment and decisions about the value of an idea, method, product, or object using certain criteria. Like that. Creating in C6 refers to the ability to create or invent an idea, thinking method, way of thinking, the theory of thinking that is more practical than what already exists. Affective domain. Affective domain contains behaviors that emphasize aspects of feelings and emotion, such as interest, attitudes, appreciation, and ways of adjusting oneself. Receiving or A1. Receiving, it expects students to recognize, be willing to accept, and pay attention to various stimuli. In this case, the students are still passive, just listening or paying attention. Responding or A2. Responding, the desire to do something as a reaction to an idea, object, and or value system. More than just recognition. In this case, students are expected to demonstrate the requested behavior. Valuing or A3. Valuing, appreciation of value is a feeling, belief, or response that question in idea, object, or way of thinking has value. In this case, students consistently behave according to a value, even though there are others who request or require it. Organizing or A4. Organization. It shows the interconnection between certain values in a value system and determines which value has a higher priority and than other values. In this case, the students becomes committed to a value system. Characterizing or E5. Characterization is related to the organization and integration of values in the personal value system. At this level, students have not only accept behavior at a lower level, but have integrated these values into a complete and convincing character. The psychomotor domain. The psychomotor domain refers to the domain of learning that involves psychomovement, coordination, and skill development. It focuses on development of motor skills, manual dexterity, and physical abilities. In this domain, individuals learn how to perform specific action, manipulate objects, and demonstrate physical abilities. The next is imitation or P1, referring to the act of imitation based on a writing, word lines, and visual examples. Manipulation or P2, referring to the mastery of movement without the aid of visual examples, where students are only given written or verbal instruction and are expected to perform the request action. The difference from imitation is the students no longer rely on visual examples but instead rely solely on written or verbal instructions. Precision in P2 and articulation in P4. And the next is naturalization in P5, referring to the ability of students to perform dynamic movements that arise spontaneously, exhausting the movement without thinking about how to do their sequence. Thank you. Next material is material 3, types of the test, strengths and weakness of each types of test. Types of tests. Language tests used for assessing language learning typically